Thanks for watching Halftime TV. This is Leon Bailey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Halftime TV viewers and subscribers. We're happy to see each and every one of you here for yet another interesting episode. And this time we'll be talking about football as Reggae boy Leon Bailey did an interesting interview a little bit earlier on. It was released on a popular local podcast. Now, I must say, we interviewed Leon Bailey a couple of months ago when he played the game against Canada, and a lot of information that was revealed during that interview was reiterated during this one as well. But I'll leave a couple of questions for you, the viewers and subscribers, because I think, again, and this is my opinion, I think the timing of the interview was ill-advised, and I'll go into some of the things that were said during the interview. I think Leon Bailey is a very humble individual, a very good footballer as well. He's been subject to a lot of criticism and abuse, especially by the Jamaican fans who are expecting to see the same Leon Bailey play for Jamaica that they are seeing week in, week out representing Aston Villa. And he lamented and he explained at length why the performances are different. But what we're going to discuss during today's episode is beyond the quality of football, and it goes a little bit further, and it digs into the fabric of what's happening at the JFF and at the Reggae Boyz team. Now, Leon Bailey from the interview said he was informed that he wouldn't be included in the next camp during the last camp. So the last camp was in November. He was informed during that time that he wouldn't be included in the next camp. He said he's broken curfew multiple times. He's not perfect. He's broken curfew multiple times, but he thought the coach could have been a bit more understanding. No, I think Leon Bailey is our superstar, right? It's fair to say he is the most popular player on the national team. He deserves a little bit of a slack, if we're to be honest. But is he bigger than the team? I'll leave the question to you, the viewers and subscribers. He went on to say being in the national team is draining him. It's draining him a whole lot. And even prior to the coach saying that he would not be called up for the next camp, he was considering taking a break from the national setup. Now, I spoke with Leon Bailey, and he explained to me that he had to book his own flights as well, because again, the flights that were being booked for him are economy. If anyone is familiar with the flight from England to Jamaica, it's no shorter than 9 hours, right? So we're looking at 9 to 10 hours. Now, he said, and this is during the interview that was released a little bit earlier today, that he's had instances where flights are being booked from England to Jamaica for him with 2 connections. And again, remember, he's coming for national duty. Also instances where he's been notified that a flight has been booked the night before, like 11 o'clock the night before, for the flight the following day. So I think a lot of the concerns that he raised during this interview is more around how they go to work and the lack of professionalism. And I think, and Leon Bailey mentioned this, he mentioned that the turfs are different, so we can't expect the same quality of football. And I'll switch that question, because the resources are different with the Jamaica Football Federation and Aston Villa. And as such, I think certain things that are being expected by Leon Bailey, I don't think it's too much to ask, but I think holding them holding their feet to the fire because those expectations are not met is a little bit of a stretch. So the same way the Jamaican fans can't be overly critical with the same way the Jamaican fans can't be overly critical of Leon Bailey, as he mentioned, because he said in the interview, the fans need to understand that he's playing on a different turf and all of that. I think it's the same way Leon Bailey should be a bit more understanding of the Jamaica Football Federation. I think that particular comment and that particular expectation of getting the same treatment that he's getting with the Aston Villa team, getting that with the Jamaican team, I think that is unfair on the Jamaica Football Federation. And I don't think, I think there are certain areas that they can improve on, obviously, But again, holding them account to all of that, I don't think that one is fair. He went on to say the national team is not paying him, which I think most of us know that most of the players, especially the top players, they aren't being properly compensated by the Jamaica Football Federation. I think as we speak now, there are a number of players that are owed by the JFF. But again, if you love your country, you go out there, you give 110% all the time. I know Leon Bailey makes north of £100,000 weekly, so naturally the Jamaica Football Federation can't pay Leon Bailey. And I think there are a number of, well, he mentioned it maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the interview, that the Jamaica national team cannot pay him, which is fair. As I said, he makes over £100,000 per week at Aston Villa. All right, I think with the new contract, he's making far more than that £100,000 that we spoke about. Again, the unprofessionalism of the Jamaica Football Federation and everything that's happening. Every time he comes out to represent the national team, he feels as if it's playing this toll on him where it's super draining and it's not benefiting him in any way. Further down in the interview, he went on to say the national team is not doing anything for him. And this is me quoting him. If he should go on to play for Real Madrid, or Real Madrid is not watching the national team to see him, so quite frankly, if Real Madrid wants him, they're not going to be watching Jamaica's team. He's going to get to Real Madrid through what he's doing at Aston Villa. And that's me paraphrasing. All right. So he's, again, I think there are so many aspects of this interview that needs to be deciphered. And my primary concern with this interview is the timing of the interview. The Reggae Boys, they have a big game tomorrow evening against the United States team. The current squad that Hall Grimson has at his disposal is already depleted. So many of the top players aren't available for a selection for tomorrow evening, yet we have one of our best players, or one of our most popular players all around Europe playing, doing an interview about what's happening behind the scenes. I think a lot of this should have been handled among internally, personally, if I'm to be frank. Craig Butler, he released a statement a little bit earlier, and he said, I think earlier today, he posted it on his Instagram, basically saying Leon Bailey will be speaking and sharing his truth shortly. I personally think a lot of what's happening with Leon Bailey, it's been advised by Craig Butler, and I won't say if it's right or wrong. Again, they know what's right or wrong for them. They've been working together for however long, and obviously Craig Butler worked magic in getting Leon Bailey to Europe and subsequently to Aston Villa. He's doing the same thing with Dujon Whisper Richards right now. But again, I think, would you see something like this coming out? Would you see something like this coming out from an Aston Villa? No, I don't think Leon Bailey would have done this if it were Aston Villa. If he had experienced anything of this sort with Aston Villa, I don't think he would have come out and done an interview discussing it. It reminds me of the Jadon Sancho incident with Manchester United, where Ten Hag came out and said something, and Jadon Sancho felt as if he had to say something as well. Same thing with Jesse Lingard. Something was said, he felt as if he had to come out and post a tweet or whatnot. I think a lot of matters should be handled behind closed doors, and especially now when the team is looking to play a massive game. I think this interview is a distraction to the players. I think a lot of Leon Bailey's teammates, they will not take too kindly to this, and I expect a couple of them to basically ring up his phone and discuss it, or have a few words with him about it. All right, so continuing on what was said in the interview, he said he feels exposed when he's with the national team. He's the person, and this is again me quoting him, he's the man people are coming out to see. So whenever people go out to watch the national team, they're coming out to see Leon Bailey, and yet he feels as if he's in a position where there's a lack of security, cameras are thrown in his face, and I think I can understand that part of it. He's also, again, a superstar. If we're to be honest with ourselves, he is a superstar. Some form of protection needs to be to be offered to the players. But this is not new. This is something that's been happening for quite some time. And Leon Bailey said he didn't want to be that person to basically say, hey, this is unacceptable. I don't want to be I don't want to be put in this position where people have such easy access to me. Again, fair. He said he didn't want to call it out in considering or in consideration for his teammates. He didn't want to be that guy. So he asked for two things. One is to be placed on a proper flight, and two, to be booked in a room by himself. All right. So Craig Butler, in the post that he made earlier, he said Leon Bailey has been subject to. He said he's been subject to situations where he's in a room with teammates who are on the phone up until 4 a.m. When they have game the following day, all that sort of thing. So he's asked that they upgrade his room so he gets to stay by himself, and also that he doesn't fly business class from England when he's reporting to Jamaica for national duty. I think, again, there are a number of things that I won't get to go through in their entirety during this live stream. What I'll do, I'll leave the link to the interview if you want to go and watch it for yourself. But quite frankly, he wants a proper flight and room for himself. How things sound, I know, based on what I got from the interview, and he said it as well. He's taking a break from the national team. He said he's promoting his party. The party is in June, and if you remember correctly, Copa is in June as well. So I think we can deduce from that right now that Leon Bailey will not be available for the Copa America, as well as the qualifiers that are coming up, the World Cup qualifiers. All right. He said that the coach, a couple of days before the squad was announced, the coach was calling him. Coach made a number of calls to him, and then when he subsequently spoke with the coach, they were speaking for roughly 40 minutes. Coach was trying to get him to come to play for the national team. However, he had already made up his mind that he was not going to report for duty this time around. All right, so quite frankly, Leon Bailey is saying he doesn't have to deal with all of this because Jamaica cannot pay him. All right, what are your thoughts on that, viewers and subscribers? Again, I've met Leon Bailey. I've had conversations with him. We've interviewed him here on the channel, and I think some aspects of the interview that he did, the tone was one of frustration, whereas others may come across as cocky, as some may say in the comment section. I don't get that vibe when I speak to him, but again, pressure bust pipe, as Jamaicans say, it could be a build-up of frustration over time. All these that are happening behind the scenes, obviously it's too much for Leon Bailey, and as such, he's opted to step away from the national team for a minute and to work on himself. He said currently he will be working on his club football, so he's working on himself with Aston Villa, and then he will decide in the future if he will continue playing for Jamaica. So as of now, Leon Bailey is not available for selection by the coach. So he wasn't suspended, he just wanted a break. Exactly. So quite frankly, Leon Bailey is saying, and this is me, he was saying he's and this is what he said when he was asked about the coach, are you and the coach good? He said, and I quote, "We're good except for the thing when go on with." All right, so we're good except for the thing when go on with. I think just speaking about the coach in that way, again, I don't see him saying something like that about Unai Emery. So it comes across with a tone that rubs me the wrong way. And I think you can make of it what you wish. I think in general, Leon Bailey is a very humble player. He's a very chill person. If you have conversation with him, you'll realize what I'm talking about. But this interview and the timing of this interview, I don't know who advised him. Obviously, those in his corner would have advised him to do this interview during this time and to say some of the things that he's been thinking about saying, or some of the things that have been troubling him for quite some time. But my only concern is the timing of the interview and some of the things that could actually have been addressed behind the scenes. What I'll do now, I'll take a small break from my notes here from the interview, and I'll go over to the comment section and hear what you, the viewers and subscribers, have been saying. So Greg Honeygan said, I support the coach. Rules are rules, and no one is bigger than the team. I have seen more prominent players than him drop from World Cup teams. We are too indisciplined. I think rules are rules, and him saying the coach could have been more understanding. I don't know what he means by that. Probably there was a situation where maybe long flight, exhaustion, last day in the country, whatever. The coach could have understood that, hey, he's only home for a couple of hours and he just wants to have a bit of fun before he gets back to England, where we know it's a lot of work, or before he travels to Canada, because again, get to Canada, the vibe, the nightlife here is different from the nightlife in Jamaica. So maybe that's the standpoint that he's coming from. But again, that's a conversation you have with the coach. He has mentioned during the interview that a lot of this he hasn't voiced it before, and it's actually the first time that he's sharing a lot of this. Again, I think a lot of this should have been handled and could have been handled behind the scenes. You could have spoken to your teammates. You could have shared your concerns with a couple of your teammates, and then it could have actually made its way up the line. Again, I think his demands are fair, if I'm to be honest with you. To be booked on a proper flight from England, fair. These are football players. The legs make the money. I'm taking a 4-hour flight, and economy is feeling even too close. Imagine what it's like coming from England, flying to Jamaica for 9 hours. All right. So Hal Grimson tried calling him, and when Bailey refused the call, he announced the suspension. If true, this is very disingenuous by the coach. All right, which is okay. Rules are rules. Yes, therefore JFF should be one leading the way. The players follow. That's okay. All right, fair. But and again, conversations can be had behind the scene. And if the coach announced to Leon Bailey that, hey, you're going to be facing a suspension. All right, the coach said that after the last camp. So when they did the Canada game, the coach had that conversation with him, right? The coach probably had a change of mind. So, all right, we're gonna bring you in. All right. Leon Bailey saying, okay, hey, I'm not available for selection. I already made up my mind. I'm not coming for this game. And the coach comes out and says, all right, Leon Bailey is suspended for disciplinary reasons or whatnot. That's easier than to say, okay, Leon Bailey will be taking a break from the national setup, all right? Because if he says Leon Bailey is taking a break from the national setup, then you get me? It's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. But again, I can see where that subscriber is coming from when they say it's very disingenuous from the coach. Coaches will say whatever to quash media reports. Because then if Leon Bailey, if we said disciplinary reasons, it's easier to explain than to explain that Leon Bailey is taking a break from the team. And I think that distraction, especially going into this game against the United States and the game on Saturday, the players don't need that. All right, so is it true that coach refuses to live in Jamaica because it's not up to his standards? I am not sure of that. Urgent, the coach had an issue with the food. All right, so flight, yes. Hotel room, no. I think a lot of top clubs, not even top clubs, but top international teams, they have players sharing rooms. Sharing rooms is more about building camaraderie among the team more than anything else. So I think in this situation, if Leon Bailey felt as if his roommate talking on the phone till 4 a.m. or what have you, as a professional footballer, obviously you want to rest. You're training all day, you're playing football all day. When get to the night stage and you want to sleep, fair. So him asking to switch rooms, I think is a stretch. Probably just ask to switch roommates. I don't think that's too much. Long time I haven't catch you live. How's everything going? Big up yourself, Charm Sweetness. We're here. Billy had an issue with the hotel food. The reason why he's so poor is because when he gets here, he's always partying. He's not doing what when he's at Aston Villa. Exactly. So if he talk to his own teammates, that's a problem. All right. So as I said, a lot of these matters could have been handled behind the scenes. I think going into the game against United States tomorrow, this is a major distraction, and any international team whatsoever. I've never seen any player who is a regular on an international team, especially star player in an international team, come out and do something like this. All right. So is it true that players from top? Yes, they do. Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood, both of them were sharing rooms. So the players share rooms. The players share rooms. The players share rooms. They're roommates. Even at the top clubs as well, when the players travel, they share rooms. All right. So and Lukaku spoke about it. Said the reason he speaks different languages is because he was sharing room for with Bosingwa for quite some time when he was with Chelsea. So whenever they travel, sometimes the double room, the players share room. So it's not a case where every player goes into the room and it's one queen size bed, or no. You have double occupancy room where there are 2 beds per room, and then you get me? So sharing room is not necessarily sharing a bed. They leave the entire night and miss the bus next morning. Can't allow that. Yeah. Why not the interview after the finals? Big distraction. Yeah, I think so. Well, that's NBA, but I'm talking about football. All right. And football squads are the fact that this is too big a distraction, and this is really unfair to the rest of Leon Bailey's teammates going into this game or into this set of games against the United States and whomever they play next. I think a lot of the concerns, they're fair. A lot of the concerns, again, and I'll go through it, said that he wants a bit more protection for the players. Fair. Leon Bailey is playing in the biggest league in the world. He's playing in the English Premier League. All right. We have he wants leg room when he's traveling. Again, fair. Player wants a little bit of space to be traveling. If you're traveling 9 hours, it's a given. You want a little bit of space to rest your legs, to stretch your legs. When he was here in Canada, he mentioned that a lot of the burden, the financial burden of booking flights and doing all of that, he has to do it for himself, because if they book an economic flight for him, obviously he wants to travel in business class. So he's going to pay for the upgrade. The same thing with the rooms. That's what he's expecting. All right. I think as players, especially when you're at camp, and even if it's a local camp, right? When you share rooms, it just helps to build that level of camaraderie. And I think especially because you're not staying, you're not playing with these players week in, week out, you're not playing with them every day, it makes it a little bit easier as well to actually gel the crop of players together. Beyond the physical benefits, NFL's accommodation arrangements also foster a sense of professionalism and mutual respect among players by giving each player their own private space. Yeah, that's fair. But to leave the entire night and miss the bus, yeah. So again, players will have to block out the noise and focus on the game against USA. The physiologists will help with preparation. We hope so. And I'll leave this live to 30 minutes because we're going to be going live a little bit later on this evening as well for the champs coverage. We have some 100-meter coverage coming up. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on this, and I want to hear what you, the viewers and subscribers, have to say. Leon Bailey in this riveting interview, I must say the least, because it's very. I think a lot of it is not really new. Yeah, a lot of it is not really new, but again, the timing of the interview, and I think the interview, if it was kept until maybe tomorrow or even Monday night, next week, Monday after the games, it would be fine. It'll be fine. But my only thing, the timing of the interview, he said the only way to change what's happening currently with the football in Jamaica is to change it from the top down. We just saw Mike Ricketts win another term, so we don't expect any change anytime soon, especially since it's the same administration. So anything that needs to be changed or anything that you feel as if it isn't being done properly or isn't being handled properly, those conversations can be had. But I quite frankly don't think something that wasn't changed over the past couple of years will all of a sudden float to the top of the list. Hey, we need to change this because Leon Bailey says so. Leon Bailey also mentioned that Craig Butler should be given a chance. However, it will never happen because of the politics in Jamaican football. What Craig Butler has done with himself and Dujon Richards, it's an incredible feat. He also mentioned that there are a lot of players behind the scenes who basically prevented him from playing for Jamaica more when he was younger because they were doing everything to get their players as a part of the squad. I think we know we can assume who he's taking aim at during that little bit of dialogue. But again, we won't go into the details. If JFF lack the resources, according to them, some players would need to accept that. That's what I'm saying. Because again, we can accept that the pitches in Jamaica, the pitches are bad, and we can't get optimum quality football because of the pitches. But we can't accept that, hey, the lack of resources from the Jamaica Football Federation side means that you're going to have to be sharing rooms with someone, all right? Or the lack of resources from the Jamaica football side means you're going to have to make some compromise when needed or when necessary. So it's right there. There's a gray area for me because you can't say, okay, I can't give my best because the pitches aren't great, while at the same time saying, okay, I expect the Jamaica Football Federation to be doing everything proper or to be doing everything 150% as I'm seeing with my club. At the club level, I'm pretty sure even the kit guy, the person who prepares the kit, probably makes more than the head of the Jamaica Football Federation. Straight off the bat, the kit guy at Aston Villa, and I'll look this up because I'm almost sure the kit guy at Aston Villa makes more than the president of the Jamaica Football Federation. So the availability of resources, we don't have as much sponsors, we don't have as much stakeholders putting funds towards the Jamaica Football Federation. So we have to temper our expectations a little bit, and that's what I think should be shared. Should be shared with the player. Billy has turned up injured multiple times to represent Jamaica. Others pull out, they break a fingernail. And Leon Bailey also spoke about coming to represent Jamaica because whenever he comes to represent Jamaica, when he gets back to his club, he's on the bench because the coach is saying, okay, we're jet lagged, the time it takes to fly to Jamaica and to get back and all of that. So again, you see clearly right there the role he's playing at Aston Villa, and the importance he is to the Aston Villa team is at the back of his mind throughout the interview. When on temper, nothing, brother. If you can't get sponsor, leave the job. Nothing in interview is news to us, the fans. True. You think whatever is said about him from national team would affect the performance when he already knew it was coming. All right, so yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm disappointed in him, but I understand the sacrifices to show. I am with him on this one. The timing is wrong. Yeah, a lot of what he said in the interview, I can understand it. I've broken it down for you. I've mentioned already what my thoughts are. I think parts of the interview, I was basically scratching my head and saying, okay, so we have influential players among the national team. We have the likes of Damian Lowe, who is very good friends with Leon Bailey. We have Andre Blake, who is one of the leaders in the team and one of the more senior players. If you have a concern with certain things, you can share it with these guys. And I think Andre Blake, Damian Lowe, Leon Bailey, he said it himself, Mikel Antonio, Bobby Reid, Mikel Antonio, Leon Bailey, they can represent English players who are traveling in. They can make an argument to the powers that be that, hey, we're traveling from far. We need the minimum that you guys can do is give us business class to get in. So we should go 4 more years without sponsors. He might as well just say he's focusing on getting his team to play Champions League football. Yeah, I think that's where he's going. I think that's where he's going. He said even if the team qualifies for the World Cup, if he doesn't feel as if he's ready to come back to the national team, he will not come back. So it's not a case where he's thinking, hey, as soon as Jamaica qualifies, I'm going to be available again. He said it's based on him. Right now, he's focusing on his mental health. He said representing the Jamaica national team has been very, very draining. And as such, he's calling it quits for now. All right, so no one can tell me Hal Grimson was not pressured to discipline Bailey or face the John Wall treatment. Yeah, so that's what's popping, folks. I think it's one of those where I think when I came here this evening, I was hoping that I would be speaking about the game tomorrow, or even doing a preview about the game tomorrow. But in light of this interview, I must say we had to share our 2 cents on it. We had to share our thoughts on it, because I think this video will also have a big impact on the England-based players. True. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe a lot of the players who showed up this time around won't even be coming back in the next couple of months. Leon Bailey mentioned it himself. He's one of the leaders in the camp, and I would expect a lot of the players who represent, who are coming from England, are looking to Leon Bailey for basically some guidance how to maneuver certain situations, especially seeing they're not really familiar with the Jamaican culture and that sort of thing, underground in particular. This is how they treat him, Coach Figuet. Leon, they're showing up on the, okay. We can say goodbye to Mason Greenwood Hutchinson at all. Bailey is our main recruiter. He didn't say he would stop recruiting. He didn't say he'd stop recruiting. It's just that he said he's taking a small break. But again, keep the comments coming in, folks. Keep the comments coming in. Let's hear what your thoughts are on this bombshell of an interview. Leon Bailey gave big interview, and I think it's one of those things where we scratch our heads throughout, because we're saying, okay, do we really feel good with all this coming out? So Craig Butler, in his post earlier today, he said, and this is me reading what he posted, I've been pretty silent since the indiscipline accusation of my son and client Leon Bailey. The fact is that up to the night before, the coach was seeking to convince him to play, with phone call up to the wee hours of the morning. I know because I facilitated them. Professional footballers should not have to beg or negotiate to travel business class in order to get leg room. Leon has suffered so many injuries after returning from international duty. Hamstring, thigh, whatever. He's often put in the same hotel room and have to be up late because he's forced to share a room with a roommate that is up until 4 a.m. in the morning. Security for players at this level is very serious, and he got zero security. In any event, he had decided to, at this point, break to make his point known that he wasn't going to play anymore. He wasn't going to play anymore, to upgrade his room, and until they made sure his travel was taken care of and security and respect was shown, he would take a break. This is a short version, but suffice it to say, he did not make the decision 1 week ago, but a couple of months. The JFF cover-up that it was disciplinary matter is not true. Leon will speak for himself on the subject soon enough. However, understand this: we are one family, Phoenix. All right, so that's Craig Butler's post on his Instagram page. He made a couple posts. Well, he made one post with multiple pictures, etc. sharing pictures with Leon Bailey and Mikel Antonio. I don't know if it's the same case with Leon Bailey and Mikel Antonio, but he shared a post with Leon Bailey and Mikel Antonio on there. I don't know what's the situation with Mikel Antonio, but as I am saying, all of what Leon Bailey said during the interview was basically mirrored in this post by Craig Butler. So it's obviously something that they discussed. It's obviously something that he shared with Craig Butler, and he was advised that, hey, you can go ahead and you can say it, or you can do it. Did you hear the interview that TV has been consistent in voicing his concerns? Seeing we treat Bonnie Shaw, make always treat treasure. First mistake, keep selecting and playing non-performing player. This is called a flop. It's the best he stay away from the team for a while and work on his mental health. He has a valid point, but one must never try to put down their country publicly. Again, now something not right, because Trevante Stewart is also suspended, so it all sounds fishy. Again, the suspension, Leon Bailey did break curfew. All right, so Craig Butler saying in the post that Leon Bailey didn't break curfew or whatnot, he's a professional player. That's not correct, because Leon Bailey admitted that he broke curfew. All right, and this is not the first time he's breaking curfew, and he admitted to that as well. We received information that Trevante Stewart was also one of those who broke curfew as well. So Leon Bailey and Trevante Stewart, they disciplinary concerns, or the suspension due to disciplinary reasons, breaking curfew. And I won't even say breaking curfew, because based on my understanding, there isn't a set curfew for the players. You have to get to certain points on time. So it's not like, hey, you need to get to bed at 7 or 8. There's nothing of that sort. All right. So the players, they have specific times to get to specific points. So if you're supposed to be at the meeting room for 8 o'clock, or if you're supposed to be on the bus to training for 10 o'clock in the morning, or whatever it is, that's what they call the curfew. Okay, so it's not a case where, oh, hey, you can't be up until 11, or you can't be up until 10. No, it's nothing along that line. It's being at specific team situations, or team gathering. I think that's what was broken. So it was supposed to be on the bus to training, and you're supposed to be at the team meeting, showed up late or didn't show up at all. So that's what they're considering as a curfew. Let's continue going through the comments. The players will be inspired to perform at their best in the USA game. His father might be a bad influence for him in respect of Leon Bailey taking a break. Coach did say that curfew was 10 p.m. Fam should be at the hotel at 10 p.m. Yeah, but again, for team meetings. So this, and again, if you should be at the hotel at 10 p.m., it was for team meetings. It's not a case where you should be at your bed or what have you. Okay, so they have team meetings, they have certain gatherings before, for example, before they go to, before they retire to bed for the night or what have you. So that's how they work it out. Okay, and it's the same, because they came here, but I can hear that Billy has a problem. There's a lot, doesn't. All right, so I'll go through. I think I will not write up Bailey. Just remember the story of prodigal son at some, and we're not writing off Leon Bailey. We're not writing off Leon Bailey. By no means are we writing off Leon Bailey. He is a top player. He's Jamaica's superstar. Some may say he's our Lionel Messi, and I think that an argument was being made that he should be given preferential treatment because he is a superstar. And again, I think teams have that superstar where they get the preferential treatment and all of that, but I don't think what he's asking for is superstar treatment. I think leg room, fair. I think with the accommodation bit, maybe the JFF can't afford it. Switch roommates then, but be in a room with someone who goes to bed early or something of the sort. All right, and I know Leon Bailey's roommate is looking at himself now and thinking, am I the reason Leon Bailey is not playing for Jamaica? and he's not performing for us. And again, that's something that could have been ironed out behind the scenes. Right? Your room, you don't have to upgrade your room. You switch roommates. All right? Or you get me? If you want to upgrade your room, it's most of the camps are very short anyway. So for example, the camp they came to in Canada, just a couple of days. In Jamaica, same thing, just a couple of days. So I don't think it's too serious. But to potentially miss a Copa for all of this is very sad. Enough of these fans must leave the youth alone. Tevin Campbell. Enough of these fans should leave the youth alone. I think it's one of those where we've heard what Leon Bailey has to say. What I'll try to do is to try and get the reaction as well from one of his teammates. But I won't do it right now. I'll wait until after the Nations League games, because again, I think there is as much distraction. We don't have Mikel Antonio. There's this distraction with the player that was selected and opted to play for England instead. There is the absence of so many moving parts right now with the national team, and this interview from Leon Bailey is just another one on top of what we were already struggling with. Same way, Stefan Walter Boyd attitude. I'm disappointed though with Butler as his father, just too bitter. And I that's my thing. I think a lot of what's happening, or a lot of what's being mirrored in Leon Bailey, is coming from don't play the sport. True, a lot of what's been said by Leon Bailey is a reflection of the thoughts or the ideas of Craig Butler. And I've heard Craig Butler on interviews, and I've heard Leon Bailey's interviews, and again, it's the narrative seems to be going in the same trajectory, and it's not primarily about the conditions of some of the players, which we can all agree that it's not ideal, but it's about changing the Jamaica Football Federation, changing the administration at the JFF and all of that. So it always goes back to that. We have the Jamaica Football Federation now. They were re-elected. They were put back into a position where we have the former president coming back as the current president. All right, we can't change that anymore. What does that mean? Are we then gonna just stop playing international football because Mike Ricketts is the president and Rudolph Speed is a part of the administration? Is that then what we're saying? Is that what Leon Bailey is saying? If it doesn't change, then you're gonna have to take a stance. Again, a lot of this is coming from the Craig Butler playbook, and I know we will hear Craig Butler on another channel addressing all of this and speaking about the Leon Bailey interview and speaking about his thoughts and everything, because he was the one who originally came out and said Leon Bailey was not suspended. He was the one who originally came out and said Leon Bailey refused the call up. And I think, again, just right there, him saying that started opening a new can of worms. And I think the moment Leon Bailey landed in Jamaica, he was the one who was saying, hey, you need to do the interview because people are thinking that you were suspended, and we need to make them know that the Jamaica Football Federation and Coach Hal Grimson are being disingenuous. That's my opinion. All right. Woodwork for free, JFF, just a bunch of crooks. Is it true at one point Bailey wanted to play football for Gibraltar, Belgium, and England when Butler and Bailey were fighting the JFF? All these soap opera is nothing new. True. Big up yourself, Jason Guna. The fall of Jamaica will be the rise of Trinidad. In England, it's discipline. So coming to Jamaica to play is like vacation. True. And I agree. And again, we can't fight a lot of this. And I've said it before. Players come to Jamaica, they want to unwind and all of that. But you can't treat the coach as if, because remember, Coach Hal Grimson is coming from a professional setup as well. And this is a professional, brought a team to the Euros and did well at the Euros. So he's been there and done that. He's making compromises to work with the Jamaica Football Federation and a lot of things that aren't going his way as well. Coach Hal Grimson could come out, Coach Hallgrimson could come out and say what he's thinking and say what he isn't happy with. But the only difference with Coach Hallgrimson and Leon Bailey is that Jamaica Football Federation is paying Coach Hallgrimson. Leon Bailey made that clear that the Jamaica Football Federation is not and cannot pay him. Okay, so he mentioned and he explicitly stated that he hasn't received a penny from the Jamaica Football Federation in however long. So a lot of the players, we know that JFF owes a bunch of the players money. Leon Bailey is one of those that said hasn't received a penny from the JFF in a minute. All right, so again, the conditions aren't ideal, but the conditions aren't ideal for just Leon Bailey. So all the players who are playing for the national team now, the conditions aren't ideal for them or the situation. All of them are sharing rooms. All of them are having to experience that. I know because they're having to experience that doesn't state that that it's right or that it should continue, but there are better ways of going about it rather than coming out and doing public interviews. All right, you can do, and you'd be surprised of some of the work you can get done behind the scenes without making it public knowledge. Too unprofessional. Why you think the players don't want to represent the country? I don't know yourself. I think that may be one of the reasons, but I won't lay all the blame down to the unprofessionalism of the Jamaica Football Federation. All right, because I don't think, again, the leg room situation, I fully agree. The players who are flying in from England, they deserve to be doing, they deserve to be flying business class. All right, and Leon Bailey shared that concern with me when we did the interview, here in Canada after the game against Canada. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the business class flying. You're flying business class from England to Jamaica. It's a long flight. Being on a jet for 8 or 9 hours in a small space, not ideal. Different code, same JFF, who said that. Leon, big up yourself. People have to love playing for their nation. Yes, because most of the times when they go to represent the nation, it's not about the money. So, and again, I think a lot of the players who are going to represent, look, the likes of Obama, who is making how much $100,000 a week. I think when he goes to play for Gabon, who's never been to a World Cup, he's looking about the conditions and the compensation and all of that. Have you seen some of the turfs that they're training on? I think it's having that level of national pride and wanting to go out and represent your country. And I know the players will be saying it's time and time again, we're going through the same thing and we have to take a stance if we want to change. But we have to understand as well that Jamaica is not Aston Villa. All right, Jamaica is not Aston Villa. There are certain things, and I said this before. The Aston Villa kitman is probably making more than the Jamaica, the entire Jamaica Football Federation combined. To put it that way, the entire organization of Jamaica Football Federation, the Aston Villa kitman. So put it that way. I think we have expectations that it should be one way in a particular situation, and we move situations, or we find ourselves in another situation where we're having the same expectations. And then when we have those expectations, not that you shouldn't have expectations, but when we have these high expectations because of what we're used to with our clubs, then we're disappointed and frustration is born out of that. And it's the same thing with the fans. It's the same thing with the fans, because the fans, they have this expectation of Leon Bailey when he's playing for Aston Villa. They expect to see that same Leon Bailey for Jamaica. And then when they don't see Leon Bailey playing at that level, then they're disappointed. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay, so we leave it at that for now. Remember, folks, smash the like button, subscribe to Halftime TV if you haven't yet done so. But more importantly, share your thoughts on this entire Leon Bailey situation. What are your thoughts on Leon Bailey's interview? What are your thoughts on some of the revelations he made? He wants extended leg room, business class. He wants to be placed in a separate room. He's had to pay on multiple occasions to upgrade to a different room. as well as to pay for his flight. He's tired of it. He's exhausted mentally, and as such, he's taken a break from the national team. And this break is, how do we put it? Indefinite. All right. So he's taking an indefinite break from the national team. We don't know when he will return. Simply put, we have World Cup qualifiers coming up later on this year. We also have the Copa America coming up later on this year as well. But safe to say, as of now, based on the conversation that Leon Bailey had on the podcast, Leon Bailey will not be available for selection for those games. He also mentioned that even if the coach comes and tries to change his mind, he's not open to changing his mind at this time. He thinks he's just going to focus on his club football and focus on his team in England. So right now, Leon Bailey's priority is Aston Villa and not the Reggae Boyz. But what are your thoughts on that, Reggae Boyz fans? What are your thoughts on that, football fans? Do you think what Leon Bailey did, or this interview, is a distraction to the current players who are looking to take on the US national team? Do you think the timing of this interview was ideal? And what do you think will be the next step for the Leon Bailey camp going forward? And what should be the next step for the coach? Do you think Leon Bailey should be exiled from the national team? Like, should there be a Karim Benzema where Leon Bailey doesn't come back to the national team for now? Or do you think the matter can be mediated? Again, so many questions, so little answers, but I'll leave it over to you guys to hear what your thoughts are and what your suggestions are on how to remedy this situation. Again, smash the like button, subscribe to Halftime TV, tell a friend to tell a friend, and don't remember to keep those comments coming in the comment section. Until next time.
Thanks for watching Halftime TV. This is Leon Bailey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Halftime TV. This is Leon Bailey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.